everyone, Leanne O'Shea here from Leaders Being Leaders. It's great to connect with you all wherever you are in this great state. Welcome to the Community Resource Centres. Today we're going to be talking about presentation, personal presentation. How do you present yourself to the world? Who are you being in each moment? And do you take personal responsibility? It should be something that you take personal responsibility, and if you learn just one thing from today, celebrate, because there is a lot to learn in regards to how we present ourselves to the world, and we're going to be looking at quite a few different areas. But I do encourage you after today's broadcast to go back to the manual and continue to read and learn about how you can learn more about yourself and how you're presenting yourself to the world. So let's look at our first slide for today. Your appearance and understanding of personal presentation techniques such as effective speaking and positive body language will enhance your communication skills and raise your own personal confidence. So our objectives are that today you're aware of the importance of first impressions, speaking confidently, how you speak to others, but more importantly, what you say and how you say it. The body language that you use, what you're wearing, how you wear it, and also cultural awareness. And you may be thinking, why is cultural awareness so important in our own personal presentation? Well, stick with us because I'm going to explain to you more why that's so important, certainly in the workplace. So understand that first impressions really do last, and there is often no second chance. The way you present yourself, your character, how you look, and the language that you use, the way that you greet the person, and the way that you talk will all be evaluated and judged. So personal presentation is about you and how you present yourself in everyday situations. By improving your personal presentation, you improve your communication skills and reduce barriers to understanding. Everybody presents themselves differently, and most can improve their personal presentation. It's something that we should strive for every day. It's something that I'm very passionate about. I have a strong interest in how we present ourselves, both physically, emotionally, mentally, and it can be a real enjoyment. And again, as you're all aware, Leaders Being Leaders is about who we're being in each moment, being self-aware, and just being the best that we can be. So personal presentation is about learning about yourself, being inner directed and accepting of who you are, your positives and even your negatives, and being comfortable with yourself. Personal presentation is not about being self-conscious or overly concerned about what others think of you, but simply, as I shared before, just being the best that you can be. So first impressions are very important. They can be about attitude as well as the way that you dress. Visual impact is just as important as verbal impact. People will very quickly make assumptions based on your facial expressions, the clothes that you wear, how well groomed you are, and your body language. The way you dress and take care of yourself generally and the appearance that you have are important factors of personal presentation. What messages does the way that you dress send to others? Your personal appearance also includes body language, gestures, and non-verbal messages that you use. By being aware of the positive and negative non-verbal signals, you can improve your image and the way people perceive you. So personal appearance, you guys are lucky and very fortunate that you do have a uniform provided in the workplace, and that makes a huge difference to how you appear at work, and it also represents the company Community Resource Centre. But it's also making sure that you're aware of taking pride in the uniform that you wear in the workplace. Is it ironed? Are your shoes clean and tidy? But also too, is your uniform of quality or is it old? Does it need replacing? So again, spend more time reading through the manual on how you can improve your personal presentation in the workplace. So what we're going to do now, guys, is a little task in your workbook for this broadcast on presentation. So what I want you to do is think about what sort of external image is appropriate to the organisation that you represent. What's important for you and what's important for the workplace? Do you put a lot of time and thought into the way you present your hair on a daily basis in the workplace? Remember, you've got lots of customers coming into your workplace, and it's important that you're aware of your personal presentation. Have you got a policy in the workplace on how much makeup to wear? And I'm sure there's a policy on body piercing. What else have you written down? Are you clean shaven? Do you consider personal hygiene? Is your footwear enclosed? Are they good quality, or do they need replacing? And also, one to remember too are your fingernails. Are they clean and well presented? Now let's think about something else on your worksheet. What other factors are important to the way you represent yourself? Now I love this one. Are you a person of integrity? Are you authentic? Do you think about your anger management? Do you like to improve your self-confidence? What about your mindset? Is self-esteem important to you? And of course, your attitude. We always need to improve our attitude in the workplace. So if you need more time to finish that task, please go back to it. But in our manual, there are other tasks that you complete in your own time on personal presentation. So let's move to the next slide, which is being punctual. Being on time really does represent you as someone who is organised, respectful, someone who's dedicated and committed, and someone who represents good time management. So whether it's coming back from a lunch break, getting to work on time, or finishing for the day, are you someone who's conscious of time? That definitely represents who you're being in the workplace, and it shows a huge load of respect. Now, effective speaking. So whether you're speaking to a room full of people, at a staff meeting, or speaking with customers, conversation is important to develop your speaking skills. And so I've got some tips here for you to be more effective within your public speaking. Now remember that you are public speaking even when you're talking one-on-one with a customer. And so as you can see, some of the tips are to read aloud. Now what does that mean? Well, I want to share with you from my own personal experience. I deliver training weekly, and I always want to improve my training style to my students. And so depending on what subject I'm delivering for the day, I will actually go into the training room and deliver it out loud to ensure that I'm delivering the passion, the quality of information, the tone of my voice, and the delivery is exactly how I want it. If I just continue to leave it in my head, I'm not quite sure that I'm going to have the impact that I'm looking for. And I can guarantee you that if you practice something out aloud on a regular basis, whether it's in the workplace, at home with your family, if there's something that you really want to share and get across and make sure that it's represented in the best manner, practice it out loud. Now, in the manual, there is a task that you can follow to improve your effective speaking, so I do encourage you to have a look at that. But also make sure that you slow your voice down. Keep your head up. Sometimes pause occasionally and practice. We all know that practice makes perfect, and if you are nervous about speaking, that's all it simply takes is just practice. So effective speaking, your voice says a lot about you, and learning how to use it more effectively has many benefits. Think about the aspects of your voice: the tone, the accent, the pitch, and the volume. We encourage you to learn more about your voice and how you use it to its full potential. Remember, how you speak is definitely a part of personal presentation. Learn to communicate more dynamically, fluently, and with passion and enthusiasm. The sound of your voice and what you say can provide clues to your emotional state. The voice is unique to the person who it belongs. So communicating with power. When you are sharing with passion and heart, then you are sharing with power. Communication skills are needed to be able to provide an excellent presentation. Without being able to verbalise your ideas and opinions, there is very little chance of presenting well. So we all begin by looking at listening and hearing skills, asking the correct questions, and finishing with communicating with more power. So it's been said that you have between 30 seconds and 2 minutes to capture your participants' attention. It's critical to engage with people from the beginning. So start thinking about how you engage with your customers. So the voice, 38% of the message received by the listener is governed by the tone and the quality of your voice. So now let's look at the importance of asking questions. Now remember, asking questions, whether you're at a staff meeting, working with customers, or communicating with your work colleagues. There are 3 types of questions, and they are useful in presentations: opening questions, clarifying questions, and closed question. So what is an open question? An open question stimulates thinking and discussions, or responses including opinions or feelings. They pass control of the conversation to the respondent. So leading words in open questions include why, what, or how. A statement such as describe the characteristics of the car is really an open question. So again, why are these questions so important as a part of your personal presentation? You can gain so much more respect and gain so much more quality from when you're communicating with your customers if you are using questions and the right types of questions. So the next one is clarifying question. A clarifying question helps to remove elicit additional detail and guide you as you answer a question. So an example is, you said you liked apples more than oranges. So why is that? So that's a clarifying question, clarifying the information that's been shared with you. And a closed question? Well, closed questions usually require a 1-word answer. And shut off discussion. Closed questions provide facts, allow the questioner to maintain control of the conversation, and are easier to answer. So typical leading words are is, can, how, many, or does. So who will lead the staff meeting is a closed question. You can read more about those in your manual, and I do encourage you to take the time to read through the manual on personal presentation. But next we're going to look at the importance of facial expressions. Have you ever thought about the expressions that are on your face as you're communicating with somebody? So understanding your facial expressions and body language are very important when you're communicating with others. Your non-verbal communication skills are just as important as your verbal skills because they have such an impact, if not more, than what you say. So let's look at body language. It is a single most powerful form of communication. Do you agree? Non-verbal communication cues you into what is on another person's mind, even more than the words can do. So body language is a form of non-verbal communication involving the use of gestures, posture, and physiologic signs which act as a cue to other people. Humans unconsciously send and receive non-verbal signals through body language all the time. So did you know that your words represent only 7% of the message that is received? Your body language represents 55%. But your body language must be matched with the words used. If a conflict arises between your words and your body language governs. So the signals that you send out to others, let's look at that. Signals are movements used to communicate needs, desires, and feelings to others. They are a form of expressive communication. More than 75% of the signals you send to others are non-verbal. People who are excellent communicators are sensitive to the power of emotions and thoughts communicated non-verbally through signals. So the types of non-verbal signals, other than the gestures that we've already discussed, are eye contact, posture, body movement, and gestures. So are you aware of your non-verbal gestures? They really do represent who you are. So why is listening and hearing important in personal presentation? Well, hearing is an act of perceiving sound by the ear. Assuming an individual is not hearing impaired, hearing simply happens. Listening, however, is something that one consciously chooses to do. We must choose to listen, and active listening is not as easy as what we think. And I know that we've discussed it in past presentation, but again, through the training that I deliver, I'm very passionate about active listening. Are you aware of who you're being when you're listening, or are you listening to the monkey chatter that's going on in your mind, or are you being distracted by what's going on around you? So it's not an easy task to actively listen. The normal adult rate of speech is 100 to 150 words per minute, but your brain can actually think of a rate from 400 to 500 words per minute, leaving extra time for daydreaming, being aware of the monkey chatter that's going on in your mind, or anticipating what the speaker is actually going to say. So listening skills, however, can be learnt and refined. The following exercise is a simple and fun way to demonstrate the difference between hearing and active listening. So listening does require concentration so that the brain processes meaning from words to sentences. Listening leads to learning, and listening skills can be learned and refined. So focused listening equals excellent presentation, because when you present yourself, you are focused, willing to learn and actively listening to the other person you are perceived positively and well regarded. So social and personal skills. Here I want you to think about a list of your own personal attributes that present you at your best. What are your attributes that make you who you are? Is one of them loyalty? Do you have a sense of trueness to yourself and others? It could be that you have a sense of humour. Are you someone who's motivated? Or are you someone that has common sense? Honesty, integrity. Well, to have a high morale and professional standard and be fair and truthful to yourself and others. What else have you added to the list? Commitment, enthusiasm, positive self-esteem, ability to deal under pressure. These are all attributes that present who you are. What else can you add to the list? A balanced attitude to work-life balance. Make sure that you're writing in your list in your task book and really thinking about your attributes that contribute significantly to your own personal presentation. Let's look at confidence now. Confidence is not something that can be learnt like a set of rules. However, it can be improved with positive thought. Confidence comes from feeling of well-being, belief in your own ability, skills and experience. It can be eroded by fear, and this is particularly applicable when speaking to others. Make sure you spend some time in the manual really learning about self-confidence and how you can improve your own self-confidence. It's actually, to feel nervous is actually okay. Nerves represent passion. I know when I am about to train, do public speaking, or am in a business meeting, I know that the nerves that I represent are connecting me to my purpose, my passion, and my self-confidence. So don't confuse the both. Nerves can be actually very healthy and actually propel you into the action that you want to take. So self-confidence. Well, self-confidence is about being assertive, to be prepared and to be organised. Is smiling. is about telling the truth and being authentic. Leaders being leaders really do value the word authentic. Are you being your authentic self? The way you present yourself is not what other people expect, but what you expect of yourself. Are you being your authentic self? So now let's look at cultural awareness. I shared with you at the start, cultural awareness is just as important. It means that you're understanding another person's cultural awareness in regards to their beliefs, values and behaviour in all areas of life. So a person shows cultural awareness by assuming people come from different cultural backgrounds and therefore have different ways of interpreting the world and relating to others. So I'm sure you all have many customers come in from different cultural backgrounds, beliefs and values, and it's important to respect that and to be aware of it. I actually train on cultural awareness, and I do encourage you to email me personally if it's something of interest to you, and I can send you lots of valuable information. But one of the best advice that I can give you when you're working with customers from different cultural backgrounds, show respect and simply ask them questions, how you can best communicate with them and best respect their cultural values. So why does cultural awareness matter? Well, it's important to recognise our own cultural assumptions, stereotypes and prejudices, seeing the world through the eyes of other cultures and meeting and greeting other cultures, taking into account other communication styles, managing people in different cultures. Now, have you thought about your own culture? What was your family culture like when you were growing up? And what culture do you like to create for yourself, your belief and values? What's the Aussie culture? And then think about subcultures. We're all a part of subcultures, whether it's sporting groups, religion, even their age bracket is a subculture. So really understanding culture is certainly going to make a difference to the way that you represent yourself within your workplace, with your customers and within your community. So again, interviewing skills can be applied to your workplace, again, whether you're working with colleagues or working with customers or in a staff meeting. Good interview etiquette is essential to good personal presentation. Being on time, for example, demonstrates that you are organised, professional and trustworthy. Besides being punctual, here are some essentials of winning when it comes to etiquette. Handshake, eye contact, using someone's name, saying thank you, and don't discredit others. I really like this. If you've been asked about a previous employer's or workmates, never speak negatively. If you don't have anything nice to say, yep, you know what I'm going to say, it's best not to say anything at all. Unfortunately, lack of etiquette will not go unnoticed. Forgetting any of the above will tarnish your personal presentation, making you appear rude or lazy. On the other hand, your efforts at good etiquette should go unnoticed, resulting in an easy, natural social interaction. So branding you, what does that mean? Well, organisations such as the Community Resource Centre spend a lot of time and money working on their image, developing their brand and producing as many positive signals as possible. So staff in your organisation should know that everything they do is marketing for the organisation. Every email that you send, every phone call that you take, every time that you interact with a customer is representing the company or the organisation that you work for. So organisations also spend a lot of money and time recruiting and training the right kind of people to project the right kind of image. So personal presentation is all about marketing you, the brand that is you. So what others see you do and hear you say will influence their opinion of you. So personal presentation is about painting yourself in as positive as light as possible, always. So when you develop your personal brand, you can inspire change, creativity and success. Confidence in your personal presentation gives you awareness to perform authentically and naturally, to simply be you. The first step to build confidence in how you present yourself is to develop your ability to communicate and to project your personality so that you interact with others authentically, with impact, and in a natural and engaging way. The way you represent yourself changes the way people see and respond to you. How you feel about yourself and the communication challenges you and affects your confidence, self-belief, motivation, enthusiasm, your resistance to or acceptance of change, and the way you choose to react or respond to circumstances. Now, I want to share something with you in regards to who are you being in each moment. This is one of my favourite books, and I took the time to take a paragraph out of this book and share it with you all. And I'm currently writing a book at the moment about the word choices, and I think you understand once I've read this to you why I am so passionate about the choices that we make on a daily basis. So, who are you being as you represent yourself to the world? You can make a huge difference in your own world. Everything you do, say, or think has a ripple effect throughout your life, your family, your work, and your community, but ultimately the universe. The power lies in the moment, being 100% present and aware of your choices and behaviour, and taking full responsibility for the impact in your world. So decision making begins as soon as you open your eyes up in the morning. Will I roll over and turn the alarm off, or will I get out of bed? Or will I have a shower now or later? What will I wear? On and on the questions go, and the choices are made. Most of the decisions made are either to pacify the ego or to fill physical need and desires or to gain other people's approval. Very seldom is a decision made because you have thought about it and consciously choose to support where you wish to go next on your journey. Every choice we make takes us either closer to or further away from our selected outcome. So when we take steps to live with a conscious awareness, we must learn to slow down and make decisions with a great deal more care and take full responsibility for the outcome. So how different would it be if you could learn to sculpt your life, guidance, and the conscious participation of your thoughts, beliefs, and attitudes and actions? Well, I believe that we can. You experience your life as a result of the choices that you make, but not many are aware of the choices that they make in regard to their thoughts, beliefs, and actions. Because of this lack of awareness, one does not take personal responsibility for one's own impact on life experience. As a result, all thought, beliefs, words, and deeds come from a pool of chaos and fear. Confusion and habit rule life, though they are often unnoticed and always unnecessary, and it can be different. When we accept the reins of our life with our eyes firmly focused on where we want to go, everything around us changes. All that is required is some quiet time, complete self-honesty, and the courage to follow through. So you can read more about this in the manual, and I really encourage you to have a really good read of this section on branding yourself. It's actually from a book called The Secret of Life from Siobhan Teo Borse, and it's a great little book. And there are some questions that I've included in the task in the manual, and I want you to think about what kind of world do you choose to live in? Who do I choose to be in that world? And what do I choose to experience in that world? Now, when you read through it in the manual, I encourage you to really think about how you can make some changes and to be more aware of the choices that you're making. So let's look at our attitude. Leadership is an attitude. Regardless of your title, you can choose to be a leader and represent yourself in a way that inspires teamwork, People want to achieve results when they are encouraged by a leader who is in tune with what motivates them. We all have the ability to make choices that create positive feelings. The most powerful positive feeling is gratitude. So have a little mindset check. Are you concerned with how you'll be judged, or are you concerned with how you can improve? You are in control and can change your mindset, change your attitude and the way you present yourself to the world. Are you being so authentic that you don't care what others think, or how does the attitude impact on others? Are you being true to yourself and still being respectful of others? So I want to share something that I drew up, and it's called the integrity wheel, and I want to share with you what integrity means. When we're living by our core values, we're living with integrity. We behave and act and believe our core values, which represent how we live. So when we are fully understand integrity and we are conscious of ourselves, our core values, and the importance of self-awareness, being in integrity can have a profound effect on our ability to be more, do more, and have more. Now, integrity really is simple. When we are conscious of our values, purpose and vision, we believe, act and behave in accordance with those values. So I want to go back to the slide if we can. So there's many times that we may not be in integrity with ourselves, and that's okay too. It can be challenging, but being self-aware can also be very empowering. In life, we can often go off track, but the important is to recognise and to self-correct. Now, as you can see on the chart that I've created there for you, what does it mean to self-correct and always live within integrity? Well, one that comes up for me all the time is one of my core values is not to talk negatively of people. But, you know, sometimes it happens, and it's a natural energy to engage and want to involve ourselves in the negative talk of other people. But because I'm consciously aware of it, I can stop myself and self-correct and go back to be living within my core values, which means I'm living with integrity. So as long as we have that self-awareness, we have that opportunity to self-correct. Many will actually make us aware of our behaviour and ask us to self-correct, but if you really understand what integrity means and what it means to have strong self-awareness, it is about how we present ourselves. And if your values are important to you, then I encourage you to come back to this in the manual and have a look what it really means to live with integrity. So let's look at the mindset. I really was only thinking about this the other day, and I wanted to share a quick example with you. As I do a lot of training and have a lot of students, and I also am a counsellor and have clients that I work with, I was in a hurry the other day. Like many of you, I'm sure you can understand, I was in the shopping centre and I was in such a rush that to anyone that would have seen me would have just thought that I was either rude because I didn't acknowledge anyone, that I was stressed, or just running ragged with the children through the shopping centre. And it got me thinking that how am I presenting myself? How am I presenting myself when people aren't watching? And I thought about what's important for me. And also too, as a counsellor and a teacher of self-awareness, is it okay for me to promote being calm and being in the present moment in a session or in a workshop, and then find myself running around like a headless chook in a shopping centre? So it got me thinking. So I was aware of it in the shopping centre, and I decided to slow down, take a big deep breath and be aware of my surroundings. I found that it changed my day, the way that I drove home, the way that I interacted with many at the shopping centre, and of course the way that I presented myself when I was out. It didn't take any more time, and it didn't change the way in which I got home in a hurry, because I was in a real hurry, but it certainly did change the way I felt about myself, the way I presented myself to others, and how I was perceived by others. So I really want you to think about who you're being as you go about your day, and how are you representing yourself when someone's not looking. Again, I've got more about that in the manual if you'd like to read up on it. Something else that's really important is in regards to personal presentation, as I just shared with you, when life does get hectic, is to remember to breathe. Make sure you are breathing from the diaphragm. Stay hydrated by drinking lots of water. Stand up tall. Posture really does affect your breathing, and it does affect your tone of voice as well. And remember to smile. It really does warm up the tone of your voice. And preparing ourselves mentally for the day or for the week ahead, something I want to share with you is visualisation. Now again, there's a lot more information about it in the manual, and if you are passionate about how you present yourself to the world, then you will want to know a lot more about visualisation. And visualisation is the formation of mental visual images. It is an excellent way to prepare your mind before a presentation, before going to work, or before a staff meeting. And there are several types of visualisation, and I do have them in the manual for you. But visualisation, like I shared with you, is the use of mental imagery to induce relaxation. Some visualisation exercise involve picturing a place of serenity and comfort, such as a beach or a garden, but other visualisation exercise involve imaging the release of anger or visualising how you want your day to go. So an example of this later kind of visualisation is imagery of getting on with everyone in the workplace, the customers that you're going to be working with for the day, and going through your day with joy and achievement. So read more about it in your manual, and as you probably remember from last presentations, I've also talked to you about your future self. Well, your future self very much comes down to visualisation and being aware of who you want to be in each moment. So as I always finish off our sessions with words from the wise, one of them that I want to share with you today is, you cannot consistently perform in a manner which is inconsistent with the way that you see yourself. And the other one is, a man thinks of himself, he becomes. So remember, if you do have any questions for me, please email them through. I would love to assist you with any questions that you have. And remember, the best way to learn is to ask questions. Also, I've mentioned many times to go back to the manual and work through the tasks. These tasks will help you think about your own personal presentation we've been discussing you today and help you put it into practice. Like all broadcasts, you know how much I value reading and the importance of learning, so I have recommended some more books for you to read. If you want to learn more about personal presentation, self-awareness and self-improvement, then I encourage you to borrow these books from the library or purchase them to read more. Now, I want to thank you all for being here today. It's been another great broadcast. Our next broadcast is going to be on communication. So I do encourage you to make sure that you have your workbook with you for when the broadcast commence, so you can work through it, take notes, jot down ideas and things that you want to read up on more after the broadcast. You can email me with any questions that you have. Feedback is wonderful, so I do encourage any feedback to improve these broadcasts for your own personal learning. Make sure you communicate with staff members and your manager to get the most out of this training, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks all for being here, and I wish you a great day.